I do not support corruption. All I can say, if I were in your position, I would take with myself and hand over to someone else who is not compromised.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much for supporting our channel. In today's views, we will take a look at Prime Minister Andrew Holness' speech he delivered in Brownstown Centre a few days ago. Some people, let us get into it and hear what the Prime Minister got to say. Share a comment in the comment section below. And if you are new here, welcome. Subscribe to the channel to help the channel grow. Some people, let us get into it.
And you will hear me use this term over and over again. The pain points. Whether it is the pothole, the garbage that not collected as you would have liked it to be collected. I know in this constituency, water is a big pain point. The issues to do with your roadways and your towns congested. All of these are pain points that add to your frustration.
Okay, Mr. said all of that, but you forget about something. This is one of the most pressing pain point Jamaica is facing at the moment. Misinformation and disinformation from members of a cabinet on these political platforms these late of days in Jamaica. Honestly, check it and you will see.
And sometimes when you reflect, you can say, why nothing happens? And then from nothing happen, you withdraw and say, me not going to when it comes to that point, somebody say no. Well, let me just put some things on the table. From I was growing up, all of these pain points existed.
Honestly, Mr. Orr, some truth to what you just said right there. But you become an adult now and you apply for the job. And in the job description that you gave, you said that you have the solution and you can solve the problem. So why is it now that you are in the job for 8 years, going 9 years, you're only there casting blame and pointing finger and staying away and running away from responsibility?
There is a generation that is growing up now that is very articulate, well connected on social media, but they don't fully appreciate all that has happened in Jamaica in the last 60 years. They don't fully appreciate it. And they can easily get caught into this whole argument that not now one and not change and the country going in the wrong direction. In other words, people are not always rational in how they consume and analyze and interpret information. In fact, some people don't even bother to go find out. They just take what comes to them. They just take the first thing that somebody tells them. And that can create a wave of ignorance in the society. And in today's world, it is easy to manipulate negative information to create a mood of negativity in the country.
So why is it, Mr. Holness, when you and your members are on the platform delivering the information, you don't bring the right information and the balanced information to the people so they can decide it for themselves instead of being political and one-sided with it, sir? From you understand the power of the mind and the power of manipulation to the mind, sir. You see, you are doing the wrong thing, sir, if you understand all of these things and you have the platform to dispense the right information, but at the end of the day, you are delivering the wrong information, one-sided information to the people for political gains. What the difference does it make, sir?
It is so curious now that becoming of freedom, they have decided that they have to be very careful how they allow the new technologies and the new medias to control the minds of their citizens, because they can influence the outcome of elections, because people can manipulate them. There is no doubt in my mind that there is a great deal of manipulation taking place. I am calling it the battle for your mind. I said to you, the workers of the party, and I said to the general public, you cannot just accept all the information that is come to you. Test it, go behind it, research it. I want to make this point using one example.
Okay, Mr. Let us listen to the example that you're gonna give, and you evaluate it for us and tell us, as the Prime Minister, if that example really make any sense. Can't you see that you are running away from accountability and responsibility as the Prime Minister, sir? Do you have any understanding of what you are saying? Just tell us.
One of the things that created a great deal of frustration, not just with the workers here, but with the general population, was a movement in food prices between 2021 and 2022. Food prices skyrocketed. We didn't cause it. We had nothing to do with it.
Honestly, Bridging, you're a dangerous. Imagine you're running away from accountability and responsibility so blatantly after being in government for 9 years, Mr. Holness. You're not suitable to be a leader. You're not a good leader. Understand yourself, sir. You're blaming others, but you're not willing to take accountability and responsibility for what's going on. This have nothing to do with JLP or PNP, sir. It better if you tell us these things and explain it like this to us, more than you're gonna blame the other side.
But we control economic policy and fiscal policy so well that if you were to have very sympathetic, very unaffected by this rise in food prices, inflation. Look what happened in the US, same thing, food prices, right?
Mr. Holness, wrong again. You people always comparing America and Jamaican economy like they are the same. Remember, America is a production state who produce. Jamaica is a consuming state that consumes, sir. So you cannot compare the two, and they are not the same in economical size. They are total on the opposite side of the spectrum, sir. So stop the foolishness and stop the disinformation and the misinformation tactics.
So, if you listen to some people talk, you will believe that it's just today and yesterday inflation take place in Jamaica. If you listen to some people talk, you will believe that it's just under the Jamaica Labour Party that food prices rise, that there has been inflation. Read out it and research it about how the PNP perform with inflation and how the Jamaica Labour Party perform with inflation. In other words, manages this business of inflation the best.
Mr. Holness, let me remind you before you go any further in your explanation. You see, in 2015, when you took over from Portia Sims Miller, the PNP administration, inflation rate was 3.69%, sir. In Europe, it was negative 0.06%. In US, it was 0.12%. And on a global scale, it was 1.44%, sir. Okay, continue.
Let me tell you, if you look at the data from 1962 to 72, average annual inflation under the Jamaica Labour Party government of that time was 4.7%. The world and the US was at 3.3%. That is in 1962 to 1972.
There's some truth to what you just said, Your Miss, but it is not the complete truth because you're not speaking it as it is. During this time, while the inflation rate during 1962 to 72 remained at 4.4% to 4.7% is because the inflation rate remained low during this time, large due to the government monetary policies and the maintenance of the fixed exchange rate with the British pound until 1968. If I am wrong, Mr. Holness and JLP followers and Androids, I am stand ready to be corrected.
In February 72 to October 1980, under the PNG, average annual inflation doubled almost to 8.8%.
So, Mr. Holness, why you don't tell us what happened from 1972 to 1980 that caused inflation to double? Because you're not telling us that in 1968 Jamaica changed its monetary system from pound to dollars, sir. In 1968 was the last time Jamaican currency was attached to the pound and maintained by the pound, rather to say. And a change of system can cause these things to happen. Why aren't you explaining these things to us? Why are you playing a political football with the information that should educate us and elevate us and help us to understand what happened so we can make the decision to go forward correctly, sir?
Under our first government in 1962 to 72, 4.7%. Under the Michael Manley regime, 8.8%, meaning the inflation on average doubled. When we took over in the 80s, from 1980 to 1989, inflation rose in that period under us to 13.5% average. That was a very difficult time, the 80s. That is when we had the fallout in Bauxite, commodity price rise, oil shocks, all kinds of challenges. Inflation rose.
Andrew Holness, why are you lying and trying excuse for Edward Seaga management of bad governance of the country? The Bauxite fallout never happened in 1980s, sir, or in the 80s. That happened in 1974 under the Michael Manley administration. And the Bauxite fallout, Andrew Holness, wasn't too much of a bad thing for Jamaica. There were so much good things that come out of the agreement between the government at that time and the multilateral corporations after they have their disagreement. So don't act as if there were all bad things that come out of the Bauxite, sir.
When the PNP took it over in 1989 to 2007, their average inflation was 18.5% for their number of years that they ran the country. So it moved from 13.5 under the JLP to 18.5 under the PNP. But that is bad and not too bad. Whilst Jamaicans were experiencing an average during the PNP years, 18.5%, if you lived in the United States, your inflation would only be 2.9%. So that means something right. You want your inflation to just about tap flag European trading partners inflation. But ours was way out of whack during that time, during that 18 and a half years of PNP government. And that is what really destroyed consumer purchasing power. When we took it over in 2007, December 2011,
yes, what you just say here, so Mr. Holness, is no miss. It's deliberate. And you know why it's deliberate? I listen keenly to what you just said.
When we took it over in 2007, December 2011,
why I say it is deliberate and it is no mistake, Mr. Holness, is because you're a person who don't like to take blame and responsibility for anything. In 2007, when Bruce Golding took over the leadership of the country and become the prime minister, inflation was 9.4% under Portia Simpson Miller. In 2008, after Bruce Golding took over, inflation rate reached 22%. And you skip all of that period and you jump to 2011, Mr. Holness. What are you doing? Are you trying to distort history and try to spill misinformation into our society because of political gain, sir? Just bring the information to us as it is and allow us to dissect it so we can make the decision for ourselves, so we can choose between you, the JLP, or Mark Gold in the PNP, Mr. Holness. Honestly, we are intelligent enough to do these things.
Average inflation for our years was 12.3%. So we reduced the inflation. When the PNP took it in December 2011 to 2016, they also reduced the inflation to 6.3%. And since we have taken over, we have brought inflation down to an average about 5%. So when you look at inflation in the country, on average, the PNP, whenever they form the government, whenever they have a hand on the economy, inflation is higher, meaning that the rise in the price of most things in the basket of goods that we consume, that price rise is higher. In fact, one way to look at it, is that from the independence of the country, and you look at all the years, 31.4 years of the PNP, effectively, they increased the consumer price index cumulatively by 6,186.6%. 6,000% cumulatively. Whilst for the 30 years that we have led the country, we have added 1,033.9% to the inflation index. So when people are talking without the facts, without the knowledge, without doing the research, the PNP cannot compare to the Jamaica Labour Party in managing the rise in the price of goods and services. They can't compare.
Okay, Mr. Holness, in 2015 to 2016, when you were until you become the Prime Minister in Jamaica, a loaf of bread in Jamaica at that time, when the PNP was in power, was 250 Jamaican dollars for a 2-pound loaf of bread. Now, under your administration, after 8 years going to 9 years, a loaf of bread is somewhere between from $650 to $750 for the same 2-pound loaf of bread, sir. So I'm just singling out a loaf of bread where everyone use on a daily basis, sir. But every other else basic necessities for the common man have seen an increase of more than 100%, Mr. Holness. So you cannot tell me doubling the price of basic commodities over a 8-year period is good management of the economy, Mr. Holness, when inflation is out of whack. Come on, Mr. Holness, just be real, sir, and reason with us, the citizens of the country, And we will understand, sir. And we will understand. Stop playing this political football gimmicks with us. We are not stupid. We are intelligent peoples. You understand, sir?
We historically and will always in the future do a better job in managing the rise in prices. We have always had far more difficult circumstances to deal with than the PNP. Did they ever have a pandemic?
Mr. Holness, come here, sir. Honestly, you know, say you don't have no shame when you're speaking about the pandemic. After all that you have done through the pandemic to Jamaican people with your martial law, Mr. Holness, you really go on a platform and talk about pandemic. Let me remind you about something. This is the first pandemic even you and your father and your grandfather see in the past lifetime you are here on earth. We never have a pandemic. This is the first one we see within 100 years, bro. None of the political party ever have a pandemic to deal with. So cut out the gimmicks and the crap and tell the people what you do to them during the pandemic and apologize to the people and ask them for forgiveness. That is what you should be doing when you speak about the pandemic, sir.
The pandemic that we have to deal with. They don't go through the amount of storm that we go through in the last 8 years that we have been here. Almost every year we have a weather event. Huge! Like a part of the hill just come down. And all around Jamaica we're seeing landslides, roads collapsing. They didn't have that crisis to deal with.
Honestly, it hurting to listen to our Prime Minister, our leader of the country speak. So my people, I'm out for now. Share your views in the comment section below, and if you are new here, welcome to this space. Subscribe to the channel to help the channel grow. Thank you, I'm out for now.